Whether you're a Class 5 rafter or just looking for a couple of laughs, these two have you covered. Welcome to Aaron and Zach's Better Than Mediocre Rafting Show.
Well, happy Christmas Eve.
We're
doing a Christmas Eve live show, Aaron. How is it in Hawaii?
Fantastic. Got our morning surf on, and it's good. It's good.
Dumping massive snowflakes here.
Is that why you're wearing that outfit there? Is that you're ready to go surfing hat? I mean, ready to go skiing
I'm not
hat.
ready to go surfing.
Ready to go skiing hat.
Ready to go skiing hat. No, I mean the snow's gonna be good. I mean it's dumping right now. Right, I'm looking outside. It's kind of dumping. But welcome everybody to the show. This is a show we do every Friday at 2 p.m. Even Christmas Eve. That's how dedicated we are to the cause. We're here. We were gonna go to Christmas Eve festivities with the family, but decided that because of the Omicron, that we should probably stay home. So we're staying home for Christmas Eve. So it makes this easy. I bet a lot of people are too. Aaron, you're on mute, so I can't hear anything you're saying.
So, but New Year's Eve, you're gonna go rage?
Maybe. Yeah, I mean, right now here in Oregon, it's been snowing pretty good. Like we have a decent snowpack for December, so we should have some good water in Idaho. I saw that the salmon drainage was 115% of normal. So, I mean, it's still early. A lot can change.
Yeah, that's the hard thing. Is like one storm this time of year makes a huge difference. You get one big storm, you're like, oh, we're way above normal, and then you're like, yeah.
And then it doesn't snow for all of January, and you're freaking out. I saw the Oahu was at 68% of normal or something. Maybe it was 69 even. I can't remember, but Idaho's not looking good, but I know. I bet California is great.
Well, California was like at 2,000% of normal or something like that when that storm came in late October or whatever like that. They're like, that's 2,000% of normal.
That was a crazy storm.
Yeah.
Well, we have a big show. Do you want to get started? Just to let everybody know, we do this every Friday, 2 p.m. Like, subscribe, do all the things, and let's get rocking. Come back to this to start. We have a lot to cover, but man, too bad it doesn't look big. But I made some changes here, Aaron, just so that you know. Under the Whitewater rescue, I updated that part a little bit after we had our discussion, and I added in handling flips, which I didn't even have in the original one from last week. And just for context, everybody, this was something we did last week. We covered all this stuff. We talked about land-based versus river-based rescue. And how
I'm going to say something though. You didn't have flips in there, but you took this from other ones that you'd seen, right? Your basis,
the left side.
The left side was, and then you took the left side, and then you moved that over to the right. And that's the funny thing is that like on a lot of Swiftwater courses I've taken, they didn't do anything.
Don't cover flips. Yeah, I've been geeking out. I searched out for Swiftwater rescue on YouTube, and all of a sudden videos are popping up in my feed for YouTube, and it's like all these like crazy firefighter rescue scenes, and it just really drives it home that it's two different types of rescue. Just watching what they're thinking and what they're going through, and what the videos are about, and how they're dressed. What you're saying is, flips aren't in a normal Swiftwater class. I just didn't move it over to the right.
What do you mean how they're dressed?
Oh, they're just in these like super macho outfits. You know, they have these big old PFDs on, which are good because they're flotation, but they have all kinds of things hanging off of them and like knives everywhere. And
wait, aren't they wearing the same PFD that you wear?
I don't wear it that much, Aaron. I want to wear it more. If it didn't have a entrapment on the back, I'd probably wear it more.
You could just cut the handle off, Zach.
Yeah, I'm not gonna. I think that we shouldn't be adjusting PFDs. That's not something we should recommend to people. I don't want to recommend anybody to change their PFDs. They're designed a certain way. But I have that PFD I use once in a while. But there's a lot more. They just have a lot more stuff on them, and they're just like the way they're dressed. You can tell that they're wearing dry suits, but they're not their size, and they're not comfortable in them. And just, the way boaters are ready for this, and then the way they just look different. That's all I'm going to say. So anyway,
basically you're saying they don't look as cool.
No, they look really cool. Depends what cool is. I mean, to me, a cool boater looks like a cool boater. To them, a cool rescuer has all kinds of dangles on their PFD. It had, is fully dressed with all their multiple knives and maybe like a radio hanging off and throw bags here and there.
Okay, so where did you add?
So I added flips under Whitewater Rescue. Sorry, this is small. I don't know why. Maybe I can make it bigger.
No, but if you go big screen, then it's fine. You just have to go full screen.
Oh, no, that's not
Oof.
It's because it's vertical that makes. Well, we can actually move in on right here. This is the section right here, Whitewater Rescue. That's where I made the most changes. And so I just put handling flips in there for now. How to handle. Maybe I should be managing flips. But and I added a part about swift swimmer rescue. And we talked about, pin swimmer, somebody on a rock, stuck in a hole, and then just, continuous water. I did that too. I made a bunch more edits since I had time. From our discussion I went through, I made a lot more edits in the whole thing. But yeah, I wanted to just share that really quick and want to share one more thing that will look familiar. I made some edits here. Remember this thing?
Mm-hmm.
So...
Hammer factor. What's the hammer factor?
It's a podcast for kayakers. It's actually pretty good. There's also another really good YouTube channel. This guy, Wade Harrison, has a great YouTube channel for kayakers. But Hammer Factor is a kayaker podcast. And I'm just making the point that maybe, and I put Gear Garage for on the rafting side, that, beyond, normal training and practice, that gaining skills through some modern content is a possibility, right? You can hear people.
This isn't just self-indulging, trying to sell our.
It sure feels that way. It sure feels that way, Aaron. But I'm not.
Maybe make it smaller than experience and practice, because I don't think don't make it the same font.
It's on the other side. Okay.
Yeah. It's by itself on one side. Maybe make it a third the size or something like that.
All right,
I agree with you. What you're saying. I just think right now it's I think experience and practice are a lot more important than that. And you actually, if you turn it and look at it, they're actually above it. They're more important.
Oh, geez, you're nitpicking. But that's not what I added that just because somebody mentioned that in a comment a few weeks ago. Hey, also, by following online content, it's a way to improve. And again, not to say that Gear Garage is correct and we're probably wrong all the time and about everything we say. So, take it with a grain of salt, anything that we pass on through the YouTube channel. But what I did was I changed the guiding and private rafting side to go. I went pro guide school, first aid, and then whitewater rescue, and then equipment retrieval, then the IRF cert. And whitewater rescue and equipment retrieval are certainly in the same category right now. They're both what people take as a swiftwater class, but they maybe could be separated. And so this is just a theoretical. But on the private rafting side is what I really am interested in. Because again, people ask the question, how do I become safer? Right? How do I get to be safer on the water? And everybody says, take the swiftwater class. And I think my theory is that's maybe not the best answer. And so I'm going to suggest some sort of rowing class, some sort of private boating class. And, it's self-indulgent because I offer those classes, but I offer them because I think they're valuable. I think they're needed in boating. Not because it's a big part of my business. And then some sort of river safety course that covers that top section of the thing, right? The top part, that's all the safety stuff. And then a potential whitewater rescue course, and then first aid and CPR, and then equipment retrieval. Maybe first aid and CPR earlier. Maybe that's before whitewater rescue, actually. But
I feel as a private boater, it's I'm
doing the best I can.
I'm going to say this. I think before pro guide school, before rowing classes, if you're into the outdoor stuff, you probably want to take those courses. Have taken
first aid and CPR,
particularly the wilderness. I think once you've taken a wilderness first aid class, you're man, I can't believe I was doing all this outdoor stuff and I didn't know any of this. It's not super hard, but just not having that.
It's true, but it's you got to put the carrot almost has to.
What I'm saying, most people who take a rowing class are already probably hiking and backpacking and camping and more than 2 hours from definitive care.
But Aaron, you know that people that take rowing classes aren't going to take it like, hey, how do I get better at rowing? Take a first aid class. Like, you know, there almost needs to be an impetus for it. It's like, hey, take your class. You're right. Everybody should take a first aid class, as many first aid classes as they can take. But you know that people aren't, generally. And so this is sort of like, once you have your basics, and I think now that I think about it, I think first aid should be higher on that side. Like rowing class, then maybe first aid, then river safety. But safety is probably more important than first aid, because safety is the prevention.
I'm going to say this. Everything in your whitewater rescue thing, your whitewater rescue write-up stuff, is stuff that I cover in a pro guide school if I'm teaching one.
But this is okay. Hold on. So,
and like, don't you cover a lot of that in the rowing class?
No, because in a pro guide school, Aaron, you have 10 days.
Well, eight, but yeah, we do 8.
Okay, you have 8 days with people who were like, let's go. We're 18. Let's go do this. Where rowing class, you have 5 days and you're kind of on vacation a little bit. Like, hey, let's enjoy the evenings and not like put 16-hour days in. So we start talking about those things, but we don't. And there's a difference between talking about those things and practicing them.
No, totally. Right? And I'm going to go back. That's why I think, like, if you're like seriously want to get after it, you're better off taking a pro guide than a rowing class. Just for that reason right there. The one that we just discussed. I think that's a huge difference. It's like that whole mentality of like, you're going to get crushed in the pro guide school. You're going to work your butt off and they're going to cram you full of content because they got to cover this stuff. They can't send you out having not covered it. And you need to do those things. You got to go through those different experiences. And in a rowing class, it's like, I mean, it's pretty mellow, you know, it's like you do some good stuff for sure, but it's not the same intensity level. You know, it's it's like going and playing red soccer in high school versus.
But not everybody. What defines getting after it? Is getting after it like crushing Cherry Creek laps, or is getting after it doing a Tuolumne?
No, I mean getting after it is even doing the South Fork of the American and guiding your friends down there. Like the pro guide school, have you much better prepared.
We've already made the thing, Aaron. If you want a paddle boat, take a pro guide school. You're not going to learn how to paddle boat.
Yeah, but even if you're rowing down the South Fork of the American in a boat, and some buddies are rowing their other boats, what happens when your buddy flips his raft?
Okay, so hold on, Aaron. Hold on, stop. Because I already have an answer for this. That's why we have our class 4 school. So for us, the class 3 school is like, it's like the rowing class and then river safety. And the class 4 school is just a lot of whitewater rescue, where we just hammer whitewater rescue. And if you want to get after it, like, or even just go boating a lot, I think like take the class for, and this is our paradigm. This isn't like I'm doing a sales pitch, and I don't want to be doing a sales pitch on Christmas, but we've designed our courses. Basically, by the way, all of our rowing courses for 2022 are sold out. So I'm not selling anything. I have waiting lists, like massive waiting lists.
I was talking to somebody the other day, and they were asking you were offering to move them a year later. You're like, I got so many people want to go this year. But we're go next
if you're worried about COVID, don't come. Yeah. We'll fill your spot. We'll like, don't bother. Like, I have 30 people on waiting list for class 4 school. So this is not a sales pitch, but we designed those courses around what I think is needed for progression. So it's like, take the class 3 school, get a bunch of the river safety, get a bunch of individual practice. And the class 4 school is on harder rivers, but we're practicing boat order, boat spacing, flips, all those things that are in that whitewater rescue world. And we do a little bit of equipment retrieval, right? We don't focus on it because it's like, it's not as more important as like safety and rescuing people.
Well, I think equipment retrieval. I mean, yeah. Do you practice picking up swimmers with your rafts?
We have Scuba Steve. That's like, well, not only do we try to have some people fall out and swim, although most people are against it, so instructors do it. But we have Scuba Steve, this like swimmer dummy we throw out that's really heavy, and we regularly practice pulling Scuba Steve in. So yeah, I mean that's a big part of our.
I'm going to say this, Zach. I think you cover the same material. It's just broken up over a longer period of time. And that's what I mean. If you want to get after it, you really want to get a good, solid foundation, you're better off with the pro guide school.
I so disagree. I mean, this is why
You
we
struggle to
created
say that, but it's. I mean, you're
I
just
don't
talking
know it's
about
true
who
because I
you
know
use.
there's Aaron. I know there's like so much variety between pro guide schools. Like I'm sure if you can sign up for an Aaron Cavagnolo guide school and you're the dude, Aaron, I'm sure it's really good. But I know there's so much variety in terms of like between different companies, what you're going to learn, and then between different instructors within a company, right? So I just don't think there's like really great consistency among them, and I think too much time is spent on professional guiding that could be spent like if you have limited time. If you're going to spend 8 days in a course, do you spend 8 days and learn a bunch of stuff and then go boating, or do you spend 5 days in a course, boat for a year, come back and spend 4 days in another course? Where's your time and money better spent?
Yeah, I mean, yeah, we're definitely in disagreement here. I don't understand
No,
what
we
about being a
were
professional. What do you mean by being a professional guide?
like a paid guide who works as a guide.
Yeah, at least I feel like the courses I've done is like that's the easy part for them to learn later on, and the part you're trying to get in the guide school is the stuff they're not going to learn from the other guides,
But
and we're
that's
not going
I
to get
think
you.
I think the point here, Aaron, is that's the courses you've taught because you bring that. But how many
Okay.
people teaching guide schools are boaters? Like a lot of people who teach guide schools, they only guide, right? Like they're not boating on their free time. This is true. Not all of them, but
Yeah,
like you don't
yeah.
want to learn from somebody who only goes on the river when they're paid to go on the river because they only know guiding. They don't know boating.
Well, and I'll say this: the other problem with it too is sometimes you'll get class 3 guides teaching those guide
Yeah,
schools, and I just don't think they have the foundation to teach
that's
the
no,
proper fundamentals. I
yeah.
agree,
So if it's
and
like an
or
Aaron
and they're too scared,
Cavagnolo,
of swimming themselves, and so they're too worried about them. They don't want to fall out, and so they're not willing to let you make mistakes and learn from your mistakes.
yeah,
So
or they
yeah,
can't like it's an instructor that can't get themselves back in the boat, or
mhm,
that instructor can't throw a throwback, so they're like, we're not going to focus on this. But
yeah,
I think if it's an Aaron Cavagnolo at Lake Tahoe Community College guide school with like your friends who
thanks
are
for
world
telling me.
class,
Yeah.
it's probably a pretty amazing experience, right? But if it's like random South Fork American company offering a guide school to like get new guides, it might suck. I'm not saying it's
It's
gonna
a-
suck. It could.
yeah,
It might be designed for stuff. We have a lot of comments. I don't know
totally.
what
Yeah, we got to get back on those comments
I'm not
exactly.
sure what this means, but that's cool.
Sierra
Whatever you
Nevada
want.
made NPR. We're talking about weather, I think.
Wade, yeah, Wade Harrison. Please go on your YouTube, open up a new browser. Don't leave us, and subscribe to Wade Harrison, especially if you're a kayaker. But even if you're not a kayaker, he has some really great videos and content. And I agree with almost everything he says in terms of safety.
That's cool.
Yeah, that's another carabiner thing.
Another carabiner thing. Yeah, I mean, I feel like we hear about those all the time. We keep going back to locking beaters and not even having carabiner. That's why you
I'll work
only
back
have
on
minimal
this.
amount of carabiners. Yes. Yeah, I think
Yeah,
it's good. I
yeah.
think it's good to stop and pause at this and be like, yep. Use the minimal amount of carabiners on your raft as you can. Use the locking carabiners. Make sure they're locked, and of course, have them flipped so that the gate's facing inward. All those things, all those variables.
I mean, and you could, I don't know, for a water bottle, use just a 1-foot cam strap. I mean, I don't know why people are using carabiners that are made for rock climbing to attach their water bottle to their boat. There's so many, like, tie some knots, get some rope. I don't know. Like, I just think it's insane that we're using like
What do
like
you use?
5,000.
You use a carabiner to yours? What do you? How do you clip off your water bottle?
I don't. I just let it sit in the bottom of the boat.
So when you flip, you lose your bottle and you leave trash in the river.
Sometimes, but it's pretty rare. It's not very. Usually, you get it. Usually, you get your thing.
I don't think that's a good standard to set, though.
It's not a good standard. You're right. It's not a good standard.
That's not a good standard to set.
Well, if I'm gonna boat like a hard river where I might flip, I'll have like a little ditty bag and it will go in there.
Ditty bags are nice. Yeah.
Yeah. If I'm guiding the South Fork or like the Middle Fork of the Salmon in a paddle boat, I'll probably just like put it down low, and I might flip, but I doubt. The odds are low, and I'll probably if I do, I'll probably get it back. That's probably a bad standard to set there, right? I shouldn't admit that I do that. But I think that using a $20 carabiner made to arrest a fall off of Val Cap to attach your water bottle to your boat is maybe not the best solution either. We get a firefighter. Thanks for watching, Job. So much bulk with dry suit and PFDs, but I have a few rescues and a few recoveries. Cool.
There you go.
Yep. Yeah. Mustang, they make cool stuff.
Yeah.
How to become safer. Do you believe that, Aaron? Just
But
go raft more and it'll be safer?
well, I think what you're saying, there's some truth in that, and I think there's some, it's like, the saying, perfect practice makes perfect. Like I do a lot of coaching of water polo, and I see a lot of kids practicing stuff wrong, and we talk about, it's like, dude, you're coming out and you're practicing stuff wrong. Like, you might as well just not come out and practice. Like, you're ingraining bad habits. So I think becoming a safer, get on the river for sure, but also be mindful and be doing best practices and building patterns. If that makes sense. Is building the right patterns and versus building the wrong patterns. And so I think rafting is key. But then you see a lot of ways people are doing when they raft, and they're doing the same thing over and over and over again, and they're not adjusting and learning, or they don't take a course early on, so they're building all these bad habits that they've got to go change later on. So I think there's like, he's definitely right. You got to get there and boat, and I think that is the most important thing, to get out there and boat. But I think, I agree with the statement. There's a subset of those people who go out there and they're not doing best practices, and so
I see that a lot. That's my issue. That's why we have a rowing school, right? Mm-hmm. Because I go boating and I see people just not looking out for each other, and they just aren't, and so it's frustrating to me. And so I thought, well, hey, and that's kind of why I do a lot of these gear garage videos and things, because I see a lot of poor behavior. When I'm out boating for fun on my days off, I'm not dying to scold everybody like, hey, buddy, you should have done this better. Like, it's not what I want to do. But I want to, but I don't. But I think putting out some content of like, hey, here's best practices, is me trying to share, and this is very egotistical all of a sudden, but it's me trying to share my background and experience to help people boat the way I think they should boat. It may not even be correct. I might be completely wrong, but it's the way I think people should boat for safety. But the point of this whole thing, going back, I think it's a combination of some training, some experience, and some, like, now that we're in a modern era, some YouTube. Right? Like, you can do all those things sometimes. If you just raft more, you're not going to learn a lot of best practices.
Yeah. Having said that, I'm going to go back to the raft more well one more time. There's a lot over the years. I've worked with a lot of guys who have been like, oh, I've been guiding for 8 years. Mm-hmm. It's like, yeah, you guide 30 days a summer for 8 years. Great. Yeah. That's good. But then, you got this kid who's just been like boating year round, and that's all they do is go on the river, and they're getting 200 days a year on the river, and it's their second year, and the 8 years like, oh, I know so much more. I've been around for 8 years. It's like, that kid's got more days on the river. Like
remember Ben Werper?
Ben Werper is a great example.
He's what I'm thinking of. I mean, he was a young guide when we were starting, but he was, he came back from a winter and was showing us video of him going off 70-foot waterfalls, and just like, he was getting real practical experience out there.
And he exactly. And I think so. I see people like that, but I think Ben also had the fundamentals, and he was paddling with people who had good fundamentals, and so he's building good fundamentals. And I think so I would say there's a lot of people who just need to boat more, though. So I agree with that statement. There's a lot of people who just aren't getting the practice in. They're not getting that 10,000 hours. So
yeah, it's everything. It's all of it. I have people who just take classes with us, and they almost only boat when they're taking classes with us. And if that's what they want to do, that's fine. But if they want to go, and maybe they don't ever want to go out and do stuff, maybe that's not in their wheelhouse. But if you want to go out and do stuff and get better, it's a combination, again, like practice and training, physical training, skills training. Yeah. All right, Heidi. So first of all, not all guide schools are the same. So some cover those things, but I can't say that's the case of all of them. And some private boaters, I mean, that's why they're going to a rowing. That's why they are going to a rowing class, is to learn how to rig a frame, right? So you probably learned that, Heidi, in your first guide school, and then your rowing school was with people who maybe it was one of their first times. But yeah, that's the point of training, is to learn that stuff. Anything to add, Aaron?
Yeah, totally. Oh, anything to add? Sorry. No, I agree with you. Yeah, I agree. I was reading the next one too. I mean,
here's the problem with this is that the IRF exam requires more than just a school. Like you could take the exam.
You can get the basic pretty much after a
yeah.
week-long school. You've got enough experience at that point because we're doing that. We're working towards that with LTC with our Lake Tahoe.
But you wouldn't pass a full exam because you probably couldn't pass. You probably don't have enough skill to give a solid safety talk and also like pass the paddle boating part. You might be checked off at class 2, but to take a guide school for a week and think you're ready to guide passengers, that you'd have a hard time paddling your skills part of the exam. You could pass the throwback test and the flip test and all the other things. Do you agree with this, right, Aaron?
Or in a different way, IRF presents for the most part. I don't understand what she said. What do you mean? What does she mean by in a different way? I don't understand.
That's just a different way of saying the same thing.
Yeah,
I think a different way of saying.
And I agree, Teddy, with what you're saying there. And we definitely, since I did the IRF thing, I was like, oh wow, these are some great best practice and more just like standards of excellence. Like, hey, you like this is a great flip test. Like their flip test is fantastic. Like I think it's weird because you got to climb on the boat 3 times to do it, but I think it's much more accurate in terms of how tired you are in a real flip. So it's like it makes it a controlled environment, but it still makes you work that harder than so it's more of a real game situation.
Yeah, having a test at the end and like a skills test makes you definitely learn better.
Yeah, I like that, and I like their test for doing the Z drag. I think that's great. It's like, hey, everyone should be able to set one of these up and know the different parts of it. And I know the
time is the fact that you're timed on it really puts the stress on that exists.
Yeah, it does, but I feel like the time they give is enough time that if you just go through it and can do it, you're going to get it done in the amount of time.
But I'm saying everybody's going to do it in like pretty easily, way easier than 5 minutes. But boy, the time puts some stress on. It adds a stress element. Even just being timed. It's like the flip test. You have 2 minutes to do it. Everybody does it like a minute 20, a minute 30. But boy, knowing that you're being timed makes you it brings the adrenaline level up quite a bit. Teddy Pedal, I don't know what ACE is. IRF/ACE. Is that ACE, the rafting company in West Virginia?
ACA, maybe she's
ACA. Yeah, I've seen some of the ACA stuff. I personally think the IRF stuff's better, but I'm sure it's good too. If you have experience, you can do the TL. Yeah,
exactly. Yeah, the TL one's great too. I think that's an outstanding. Yeah.
Oh, so I see what you're saying, Heidi. Yeah, no, we probably suck at teaching rowing. That makes sense because they took our class and they can't rig a day.
No, I think we also but Zach, I think the thing is like it's more mellow. Like guide school is more your pro guide school is much more militant. Like you can slither through a little easier on a rowing class and come out.
Yeah, you can. You can.
If you don't want to, because that's more of the attitude of it is more like, hey, we're here. Here's the content we're going to cover. If you want to learn it, cool. If you don't. But the pro guide school is more like, dude, you're here to become a pro guide. You need to do this stuff. You need to do it well. If you're not wanting to participate in it, you shouldn't be here.
Rowing schools are meant to be a little more of a learning vacation.
Yeah.
And guide schools are more like, hey, I want to learn. I want to put in my long days, and I don't mind being cold, waiting at takeout for the shuttle, and like it's a little different atmosphere. So what I'm saying is, Heidi, I bet that rowing, like you're intense sometimes about your wanting to learn. Maybe the pro guide schools are better. A lot of our people in our classes are like, yeah, I want to get better. I want to have fun. I want to meet some cool people.
I think Heidi is the type, and that's who it would work well for. But I think I'm sure she got a lot of your rowing classes, and in that. I think they're both great, but I think someone like Heidi would enjoy people like Heidi, would enjoy the pro guide school. Yeah.
I think the more you get on, I don't understand this practice, the better you get. But socializing with boaters, I think that's a good one. Like, I think meeting other boaters, socializing is huge. And I hope that's
the river. It shouldn't be thrived. It should be on the river. I think the more you get out on the river,
practice. Yeah. Practice is, you definitely get better without a doubt at your individual skills, like getting on the river. But I think there's a disconnect in what we're explaining sometimes. And tell me what you think about this, Aaron. I think a lot of people think that getting better means better at running rapids on their own. And to me, getting better means that plus maintaining your team posture in a group. And so like you can, I mean, honestly, like if a log can make it down class 5, I don't know. If I put most of you in a caput on top of a class 5, you're probably going to come out the bottom, right? The difference is like, do you have a team supporting you if you make a mistake? And are you a part of that team? And so like at some point, once you start getting into class 4, I'm less worried about your individual skills and I'm more focused on like, how are you interacting with everybody else in the group? Not only can you run the rapid, but can you speed up or slow down in the rapid to maintain spacing and order? And I know we're harping on this stuff so much. I think you can get better at like your own ability to make a maneuver for sure, but you don't necessarily get better at like all the other stuff.
If you're not talking, if you're not having conversations about it.
Yep.
And he's kind of referring to this too when you socialize with other boaters. I think that's one of the reasons we talk about having that like that guide talk before you launch a put-in, to have that quick conversation. And it gives you an opportunity to share your ideas about how you're planning to run to the date and to have that time.
Yeah, but nobody does that. You mean private boating to have the talk before we
go?
Totally.
No,
remember with like a year ago with Dustin, we were going to do that. I'm like, okay, from now on, I'm going to do it, put in talk. It's weird. I never do it. Like it's best practices. We should be doing it. But do people really have that talk?
Well, I think just like particularly if you don't know everyone in your group, hey, let's meet up to start when we meet each other.
Yeah, even if you don't, you're just like, you don't want to be the nerd who's like, you should be the nerd. You absolutely should be the nerd. But I know practically it doesn't happen. I've been for a year trying to do this. And
it's not that hard, Zach.
It is. It shouldn't be, but it's awkward. Hey, all you people I've never met. I'm Zach. I'm in charge here today, and I want to talk through all the things.
But Zach, it's more like I would say, hey, you guys, I haven't met all you guys. You guys mind if we just like circle up for a minute, just introduce ourselves?
Aaron, do you really do that? Do you really? You're just playing like no, you don't.
Yeah, I totally do. I've definitely done that. But usually I'm in a place where I can be like, I'm like a known authority within the group.
Aaron Cavagnolo's here. Let him.
But so I can pull it off a little easier.
But like the average person has a hard time pulling that off.
Yeah, I think you can just say, hey, I just like to get to know everyone in the group, and just like, hey, let's just introduce ourselves. And like, and just get an idea. Like, have we done this before? Do we all know the run? Do we have different places we want to go?
So that's what I do now. Like, that's what I'm actively doing. Like, if I'm within a group I don't know very well, I'll just go up like, hey, have you been here before? Do you know the lines? And I'll kind of read them. I'd be like, hey, do you feel comfortable? Do you need to follow somebody? Does it help? How much? And I'll be like, how much information do you need? And maybe after a rapid or two, I might say, hey, how you doing? Like, have you been here before? Do you want some beta? But like to do a whole talk, I don't think people do.
Well, I don't think you make it a long talk, but I think the other thing, Zach, with what you're doing works better in some ways is like some people aren't going to be in the group like, I'm scared. No one's going to say that in front of like 10 people all circled up. So there's something to be about checking with people individually.
I just think that like it's we.
But how do you decide? But Zach, if you don't have a meeting, how do you decide what order you're going? You're like, oh, let's go. And everyone just goes randomly and no one's like, yeah, dude, I'll go first. I'll go sweep.
Lately, I mean, almost
I've got a sweep kit.
I mean, lately boating, it's been like me and like a couple people I know that are 100% solid. And then like, we're just like, we already know, like, I'm going to go first or Brody's gonna go first. I'm going to go last. Like we already kind of know. And we just say him and I have a discussion and then we're like, I'll ask a few people like, you good? You know the lines. But if I don't know anybody, then that's an issue. If I show up and I don't know anybody, but somebody else probably
if you only know a few of them.
But Aaron, let's say somebody else is organizing a trip on a river you don't know very well. And you're like, yeah, I'd love to tag along. And you show up and that person doesn't have any pre-trip safety talk or anything, or any check-in.
Well, I would just be like, hey, can we meet up for a second? Just talk about the
still would. That's hard to do, man.
No, I would just say, hey, can we just meet up and talk about boat order? I just want to know where we're
I don't think you would.
Oh, I totally would.
I don't think you would. think you're just being idealistic.
No, Zach, I can't believe you don't do that. That's not that hard to say.
I think I sometimes I do it. Sometimes I don't want to step. I don't want to step in other people's shoes. Somebody's organizing. I don't want to be like.
Thing I would do. I would go up to the person if there's someone clearly in charge. I would go up and ask them, like, if you were in charge, I'd go up and say, hey, Zach, do you mind if we just meet up for a minute? And so just like introduce names. And
I get that that's the right thing to do, but I know that in the real world, it's really hard to pull that off. I'm trying to be realistic on this.
What I will do hard at all.
It is. You're okay. Whatever. We can disagree. But what I think you can do is go up to that person in charge and be like, "Hey, how can I? Like, where do you want me today?"
Well, and I think that's another way to do it too. And you can come up with that. And then if they say, "Well, I don't know, I'm not sure," he's like, then you could roll into the, "Hey, does it make sense for just to check on them?" Because maybe they already have a plan, and if they already have a plan, cool. And if they don't, be like, "Hey, maybe can we just meet up for a minute and just like all talk about it?"
Yeah. The other thing I'll do a lot. I put in I'm having a hard time making that meeting happen it's just I can't if I'm at work.
You're so impatient. You're the guy who drives away before everyone's in their vehicles out.
But I think I am impatient because I want to get in the river at some point too. But I'll also be like, hey, who has a safety kit? I'll just hey, does anybody have a first aid kit in their boats? Who has a spare paddle? Like I'll just do a quick like that sometimes, but just casually while we're like getting ready on the shore. I'm not gonna have a meeting. I'll just be like, I'll be like, hey, where do you guys want me today?
Yeah, okay.
And who has some?
It doesn't have to be a formal meeting. If everyone's right there, totally. But if everyone's like all spread out, it's like, hey, let's just chat.
I can't wait to go boating with you and watch you do this. Because you don't do this, Aaron. I think you're just trying to be ideal. I think you're being idealistic.
I think it depends on the trip.
I think you're trying to be like, I'm Aaron, I'm perfect, and I do everything according to the Knowles Handbook.
No, I don't know the whole Knowles Handbook, but no, it's something I regularly do. And like, I think the people I boat with a lot like to do it. Like we're all used to doing it. So that's the thing, Zach, is like a lot of us who boat together a lot, we all used to work together. And we used to do that before we'd work together. So it's just like part of our habit. Because when we're working Tuolumne trips, you would just like meet up in the morning before the trip and we'd all just.
Would you really, Aaron? Would we really meet up in the morning? Come on.
Yeah, no, we definitely would. We'd meet up and be like, hey, what's going on?
We did not meet up like that.
Well, after you left, we started doing
you started after I was gone. I as the head guide, I'd be like, hey, Aaron, I need you to run lead. Kevin, I need you to sweep. Hey, everybody stay in between. You guys feel good about that? Cool, let's go.
Yeah. And we do that too, but at high water.
It's not a meeting. It's just like
at high water, we'd have a little bit of a meeting.
A meeting at high water is different. Hey, so the other thing is, I want to move on. You get a chance to socialize with other boaters. You can share ideas and philosophies. And that, to me, is the point of the live show, of what we're doing now, is like creating a way to socialize and share responsibilities. Yeah, and Peter says that. So I'm comfortable not being too egotistical about that. Yep, you're right about that. Depends on whether the company trip is day. Yeah, or multi-day, or like if it's like Aaron's community college school that's like meant for like guides to go all kinds of places. I bet classes in Europe are pretty solid. Depends if they're like on the Kern.
Wow, Europeans just do it better than we do. Huh?
They're doing some great stuff. Anyway,
well,
do you know that they're like a little more solid, or like the Kern? If you're training guides for the Kern, there's a high level of expectation.
The Kern?
Yeah, the Kern's dangerous and hard. The Kern, Kern. It's in California, Aaron.
Yeah, I know. Zach, that's such a blanket statement.
The Kern, there's a higher level of expertise needed to guide the Kern in the South Fork.
I'm sure there's some outfitters that do a good job of training everywhere, and there's some outfitters that don't do as good a job in Europe, in the U.S., on the Kern, in Oregon, everywhere. Right. I think there's probably a variety.
You're right. I'm making.
I think we're making some real generalizations.
We are. We're making. We're not making generalizations. I'm making generalizations because I feel pretty passionate about, as you know, like I just don't think guide schools are always great. And that's why we have a rowing school program that exists. That's I'm
going to say, but I would say, having interacted with, one of your rowing schools, a substantial number of those people would not have fun on a pro guide school.
Yes.
Heidi would, and there's some others that would, but the substantial number of them, they would hate it.
Yeah. And that's important. Like, I want to create a way for people to train that isn't that. That isn't right for everybody.
I see a lot of people come on our pro guide schools who have no intention of ever guiding and love them. and they like that
but
type of intensity.
Hey, Aaron, I want to be clear. That's an Aaron Cavagnolo guide school.
No, it's not just the Aaron Cavagnolo one. It's ones I'm not on. I talked to people who've done them over the years. A lot of people really enjoy that. Because I think there's an intensity to it that makes it fun, and it's like in what you do matters, and like you got to do it, and you know it's like it's kind of, for some people I think that's relaxing to them in a way. It's just to be focused on the present. I'm focused here, and this is what I'm doing.
I'm done talking about this. Can we move on?
I get the sense there's no reverence for. Are we talking about by Zach?
Design.
Yeah, that's Zach.
Minimum respectable entry level as you guys see it. I get the sense there's no reverence for guide school design
for hiring.
No, I think guide schools that for hiring are really good, because it's like we're gonna create a thing to fit all our holes. Right. So I think guide schools for hiring create professional guides for that company. I think they're perfect. I just think that they're not great for most private boaters. Like,
I'm going to say this. There's two parts of this. There's the part that what makes the ones designed for hiring great is over the years they figured out the holes in what they were teaching.
Yeah.
And the guys are coming out and they're like, hey, our guides are terrible at this. We need to do more of this in the guide school. We need them prepared for this, because the triplers come back, dude, these new guides, they're not doing A, B, and C. And so I think over time they've developed a structure that's really good at preparing guides to do what they need them to do.
Yep.
Now, if you want to take your friends on the South Fork of the American on a paddle boat, yeah, take one of those. Taking a guide school designed for people who want to work on the South Fork American is perfect, right? You're gonna learn so much about being there, and just like it's gonna be incredible, you know. But then I think one of the problems with the guide schools designed for hiring is, and I'll say the ones that are policy based, I struggle with them a little bit. That they're like, here's how we run this rapid, here's how we do this, here's how we do this. And that's great when the water is running 1200 CFS. But what happens when the water is running a different level? What happens when this happens? What happens if that happens? And so I will say that in my mind, the big variation is judgment-based versus policy-based guide schools. And I'm a much bigger fan of the judgment-based ones, particularly for private boaters, because I think you need to learn judgment. You know, that's a big part of it. So exactly what you say.
Yeah, I think there's just so much diversity in learning that's out there. And so I'm always coming at this from private boater education, because I care about like private boaters getting the training that they want. I want them to have the right training. And I feel like a lot of guide schools are not a good match for private boaters. And I think that because I hear that from some people. Like, it sounds like Heidi disagrees, and she's taken one or two of our classes. But like, I think that if you're private boating and you're rowing a cat or rowing a raft and want to do overnights, like doing a course designed for that needs is better than a guide school. I think if you want to,
Zach,
you need guides.
Zach, you have confirmation bias, though. Let's be honest.
I know what that means. I probably have it.
What it is like you have confirmation bias because you have people who've done the pro guide schools, hated them, come on yours and loved them, and then tell you how much they love your school.
I have that, and I also have Heidi, who's like, I did a pro guide school, I took your rowing class, and people don't know how to tie their frames on. So I have both.
Heidi is, I mean, yeah, I think
I have both, but I think
a lot of the people like Heidi.
Then
you don't get a lot of the Heidis.
Then yes, I have confirmation bias. You're right, yeah. But I think getting to Matt's question is, I think guide schools personally should be mainly for guides, and I almost think that like private boaters, when they're in them, they like take away from the class for the guides, because like some of them aren't dedicated to like how much effort it can be or how much time you have to put into it. Some are like, so like when you mix private boaters and guides in a guide school, like you're lowering this and you're raising private boaters to like something that they don't want to do and are having fun. And the people who want to guide aren't flipping his boats as often, not swimming rapids as often. And so I think I would put, that's my opinion, Aaron. And I'm done talking about this. We got to move on because we have a million videos.
You're like, I'm gonna say what I'm gonna
say. We're done.
Zach, I'm gonna say.
Why not take a thing designed for what you're doing? Like a pro guide school is designed for professional guides.
Zach, you have a good point. Is sometimes there are people in there who do cause that, but more often, what I've seen is the people who are just doing it for fun are way better at it than these kids are trying to learn. Because you get people who are older who are doing it for fun, so they're way more on it. They're like ready to go.
We've seen
kids are like,
you and I have seen different.
The 18-year-old boys in particular are just a mess. and you're like, and they want the job, and then you got this like whatever, these people in their 30s, and 40s are taking the course.
You've seen different things,
and they set a professional. It's kind of funny. They set the professionalism standard.
They
just
probably
because
do
they're
set the
on it.
professionalism scale, but I think is there minimum respectable entry level as you guys see it?
What does that mean?
I think that means to be in a guide school. I think that this is my opinion. To be in a guide school, there's not a minimum. I mean, you have to be physically fit and be able to swim.
I think the physical part, yeah.
But the point is, let's take people who know nothing and give them skills so they can be professional guides. And so I don't think there's a minimum respectable entry level to go to guide school. And private boaters are more than welcome to come. I just think they won't get as much out of it based on things they want, and it will just change the school. Because I've seen that. I've seen that. But that's just
exactly. I agree, and that's why I say if you want to get your butt kicked, go to a pro guide school. If you want to be
on vacation,
you want to be pampered a little bit,
some like
go to the
appetizers with dinner, maybe like some brownies for dessert, and you want like a class, like you can do the safety class, or you can go on a hike to a waterfall. Whatever you want to do is fine. The safety class is optional, versus the like we're going to get up in the morning and in the rain, and we're going to go flip boats. Like you're going to flip boats.
You need to learn. Yeah.
You're gonna flip boats. Go flip the boat. Now go swim the rapid. Go swim the rapid again. Okay, you're gonna be a throwbag dummy. Go jump in the water and get caught by a throwbag.
Get cold.
I know. When I teach my courses, it's really hard to get private boaters to flip their boats, swim rapids, and swim after throwbags. It's really hard.
To prove my point about the advantage of the pro schools, it's like
you're forced to do those things.
If you want to be with a bunch of people who are getting after it, who are going to push you, and you're going to push them.
Okay, we're done. Do you? I think he's asking. Do you think everyone can learn to be a Class 2 boater?
Yes.
Sure. I don't see why not. It's not that hard.
I mean, like just seeing the number of people come through. Yes. If you put the time in to do Class 3, Peter. Yes. To be a lead boat in Class 3, probably if you really put the time in. Yeah.
Not to emphasize respect, but are there aspects of entry-level training which could prove detrimental?
Yes. I mean, I think there's some things you have to reteach. It's like teaching yourself to ski, and and you're like learning your snowplow, and then you're trying to go do parallel later on. I think there's some similarities that I've seen with rafting, where you work with certain guys. You're like the people who are switching their paddle from one side to the other is a paddle boater, or when people like Zach probably sees people who would learn to shift the oars by pulling them in. There's some things like that where you're like, no, if you just learn it right at the beginning, you're going to be way better off. You're not going to go to this. You're not going to want to do that. So
this is my worry, that there's people teaching guide schools that are teaching the wrong things. That's my worry. And wrong in my opinion, because there's no like best practice document out there that we have to follow. Nobody knows, but like I think that's a good example as they're teaching rowing and like, oh yeah, you just pull your oar in when you're about to hit a rock. And then they learn that and they do that over and over and over, and they come work for me. And I'm like, dude, no, you can't do that. That doesn't work for these 5 reasons. Like, so I think that poor training is not good.
I mean, and I think,
I mean, I was talking to a bunch of guides the other night about oar locks, and I was talking to a bunch of really experienced guides, and I brought up the term, or what are those things that keep the oars from feathering on the spinnies?
Oh yeah,
oar rights. Yeah. They're like, oh, training wheels. I'm like, they're not training wheels. They're like a tool you can use. Like they're first.
I laugh whenever anyone says that. I'd be like, yeah, dude. I just think back to my days working down the Chile on the Fuda. I'm like, yeah, come down the Fuda and say that. Like,
yeah,
the people were the best at rowing boats. Like the company I was working with at the time, they were using training wheels, and the people were snapping oars.
And these people are training new guides who are saying those same things, like don't learn how to use oar rights because they're training wheels. And then they're teaching them a bunch of other bad habits, I'm sure, but I don't want to go on about this. Having after action footage. Yeah. Oh yeah. I think using video is great, man. We got to get through all this. Oh, cool. Thanks, Chad. I mean, we have the online course. Thanks for plugging it. Thanks, Chad. Yeah.
Wow, man. How much did you give Chad a free course or something like that? Wow, Chad, that is really nice
Chad,
of you.
I owe you some free stuff now. I mean, that's the thing is it is a combination of practice and in-person courses and some online learning. That's my point. That's all potential training. Here, this is Job, who's the firefighter. I had a guy wrapped in the ghillie chute, and he looked the part and gave me the head tap that they were okay. I'm not sure what that means. But when we had to go 3-1, he couldn't anchor the frame.
Yeah, he did not say an anchor.
Yeah. Cool. We got lots of stuff to cover. Glad we're done with all those videos. I've got
videos?
I got lots of videos. And so Aaron, I'm gonna start with this one.
Oh yeah. This is old echo footage, huh?
Well,
the river's running high and wild to someplace you've never been.
That's Marty McDonnell right there, isn't it?
Yep.
Yeah, that's your daily guiding. Yeah. Wow, this music
Whitewater,
is brutal.
Alive, free, and you can never tame it. But for the chance to ride the rolling thunder and feel the power of freedom, you go for it, making the most of now. From the
Joe
life
Daly's
you
the guy.
live to the beer
That's
you
really
drink.
loud.
There's
And
Dick in
since
the front.
1849, the beer that makes the most out of life is Schlitz. That's why
There's
every
Marty.
day,
Anymore?
millions of times a day, America reaches for a Schlitz.
When they're making it beer, make it this one beer. Schlitz
There's
makes
Dick.
it great.
Oh, really?
Go for it.
Wow. That's some great footage there. That's outstanding.
I
That
found
was really fun. Man, they don't do rafting. They don't do rafting beer commercials anymore, do they? We're not cool anymore.
No. Okay, so enough of that. So
That
I have a
was
bunch
awesome.
of videos today. Where did that one come from? We'll start with swimming.
You want to turn down
So-
the music? Turn
yeah,
down anything. Yeah,
got it.
great.
So I think I just want to show examples of rescues and talk about some rescues a little bit for what we have time for. And
Nice line.
yeah, yep. Looks like there's self-support inflatable kayaking, which is pretty sweet.
Oh, that sounds great.
Yeah, and minimal, like you like to go. Like, let's not bring much stuff.
Yeah, totally.
Still more than stuff than backpacking, though.
Oh boy.
Yeah.
Oh boy. Oh boy. Oh boy. Oh boy. Oh boy. Oh. Ow. Oh. That's the classic right there, third person.
So I just want to point out some things I thought about, and this is in the context of what we've been talking about lately in terms of like, what is rescue? Does this deserve a rescue? Is this rescue worthy?
Yeah.
And so I think that this person needs to get out of the water. And first of all, if they had gotten back here, this is a pretty dangerous place to swim. Let's go back. So missing the line in the picket fence. This is a pretty dangerous place to swim. If they're perched on a rock here or pinned, their friends, there's no friends around. So first of all, like, their friends should, in my opinion, be in an eddy down here somewhere. Like, they should be, I don't think you see them again potentially. Like, they should be stopping, pulling over, heading out, helping to provide some support. And they should either be available to help with the rescue, or this person should be doing something to self-rescue. It just doesn't seem like there's any effort towards swimming towards the boat or swimming towards shore.
So do you think if people are running this rapid, they should be able to catch the eddies after the initial move?
I think that's a good question, Aaron. What do you think?
I want to hear your answer first.
My answer is good. I think that when you boat, you shouldn't all suck.
So you're saying someone in your group should be able to catch the eddies up there?
Yeah, somebody has, like, you all can't be boating at your boating limit. Like, that's not safe because you could all flip, or you can't provide safety for sure. Somebody has to be, if you're boating Blossom Bar and it's like class 4, you can't all be class 3 boaters. Like, maybe 2 of you can be class 4 boaters and there can be 2 class 3 boaters, and the class 4 boaters can look after the class 3 boaters. But there has to be some, like, I think generally you all can't be at your boating ability. There has to be somebody who's like competent. Somebody can catch that eddy. Somebody can provide safety. It's not just hey, let's just go in and hopefully get lucky and not have a disaster.
So Zach, on your team, when you guys run it, does anyone catch any of the eddies up there?
Yeah. It's pretty common for an oar boat to catch that eddy.
Or like right after the crux.
Yeah. But if they can, like maybe they have a big gear boat and maybe we can't.
Yeah, the big gear boats. Oh,
it's hard, but we generally try to like put somebody in those eddies just in case. Like a paddle boat might run first. We might run a gear boat first, and that person's like a solid boater. They get down to the very, very bottom, and then a paddle boat will come through and catch that eddy to provide safety for the other boats coming through. But that downstream oar boat is way, way downstream safety. So it depends.
No, because I think a lot of groups won't have anyone who could catch eddies up there. I think that's asking a lot.
And I think that's a problem. I think that's an issue. That's a safety issue. Because if homeboy, I don't see where his friends are at all. His friends just gone. Did they eddy out somewhere? Oh, I think I see them way down there.
Oh yeah. They're still still running the rapid. Yep.
Right. Like, what if he was stuck on a rock in there somewhere? What if his body was pinned somewhere? What if his ducky was still wrapped into the picket fence? Like, I don't know. I think that somebody has to be solid and looking out for the team. At least one person. Right? Am I wrong here? Am I being too harsh?
Well, I think there's a couple of things we don't know. I could see the second person being the weakest person, and so that second person doesn't know how to get down by themselves, and they can't catch eddy, so they're following the first person, and that third person was supposed to be good to go. So I could see something like that. The other thing that I'll say is that I'm going to go back to yours, Zach, boat spacing. If they were closer, that wouldn't have happened.
Like he wouldn't have gone the wrong place, or
well, I think he wouldn't have been alone. That wouldn't have happened. He would have been much less likely to take the wrong line because he would have been falling close behind the other people. If he was falling close, you're much less likely to get that far off the line. When you're that far behind, you can't see where they're entering. You end up hanging it way out there. And those other two boats had great lines. And so if you'd been falling closer, probably wouldn't have been a problem.
Yeah, but I'm working under the assumption that anybody can make a mistake, and that we need to provide safety.
I'm saying that, Zach, but I'm saying it going back to your thing. If they were closer in their boat spacing, who cares about catching the eddy? Because you're there to help them out. You're
right there. Yeah. I see what you're saying. Yeah. Like if you hadn't just paddled downstream, you were started closer. You weren't like halfway down the rapid. Yeah. Yep. So Jared says Jared sets a safety boat below the fence too.
There we go.
I think it depends on the boats you have too. If you have inflatable kayaks, you're likely to have swimmers. So yeah, you need a safety boat below the fence. If it's just all rafts, I mean, it's not, I don't think, as critical to have that safety boat because you're less likely to have swimmers. But I think it depends. I think it depends on the crew. Depends on a lot of things. But like if you're weak as a crew and you think there might be a problem there, it's nice to have a safety boat there. All right. This is another Blossom Bar video that has some swimming involved, I think. Those rocks there, right, we're looking at right now, super dangerous. Incredibly dangerous. Like people have died in those rocks.
Do you think they should blow up those rocks?
I don't think so. Man, that's good. Do you think they should?
Well, it's interesting to me.
It'll save lives. I mean, they might make it worse too.
I mean, maybe it makes it worse, but the whole reason they can run it as well as they can is because the whole thing's been blown up from top to bottom. You know?
Yeah.
And then I think it's interesting what happened. What's that run in Arizona? I'm going blank on the name of the river where they blew out that
Oh, and
falls
the
down
salt.
there. The salt, yeah, the salt became a much better rafting run after that. Well, all those outfitters should be sending that guy like tons of money, just like
Yeah, but maybe it's
him.
better that it was harder. I mean, they made that rapid easier and safer, but I mean, the river. I think the river should be hard. It limits who can go.
I'm not. I don't have a problem with them not blowing up. I'm just saying all the outfitters should be giving them money. That's all I'm saying on that one.
I'm
I
a
don't
fan
think
of
they should
nature.
have done it.
I don't think we
I
should be blowing
agree.
nature up.
I
If the
agree,
rogue-
but those he's
If
making
the
those
rogue was
outfitters a lot of money.
class 4+, and I wasn't an outfitter there, but it was fine. Like
I wonder what the rogue would have been like before they blew up all those channels.
I mean, there's two things that make the rogue runnable. One, they blew up the channels, and two, they put dams upstream to control the flow.
Yeah.
I bet it would have been a lot like the Illinois spring only, higher water flows.
Well, the drainage is a lot.
It's different geology.
The drainage is a lot better. It's a lot bigger drainage. They'd have water going all summer because you're coming off the mountains, aren't you?
No, you are, but they would never. It would not have flow all summer. It would probably go. It's a bigger drainage in Illinois, so it'd probably go longer, but it would peter out for sure.
I mean, you can go up and run? You can run the lava tube section all summer. It runs all summer.
But that's not that much water, and that's upstream of the dam.
Dams.
Yeah, I don't know. I've talked to people about this, and so I'm just this is from my talks with people.
I think it'd be low water, but I think there'd be water in it. I think it,
So here we have swimmers again at Blossom Bar. Some dudes going under the boat, super dangerous. And so right here, Aaron, what should be happening?
You got to keep videoing. That's your number one priority is the video, of course.
Yeah, I mean that's number one thing.
I love that. I love the video.
There is a safety boat behind the picket fence. Yeah, so that's number one. The safety boat behind the picket fence is just keeping the video going. That's number one. Number two, the people who swam need to self-rescue. Perfect rock push, I guess.
Use their feet to push off the rock. Nice.
Yep. So this boat needs to be out there helping with this. This is scary to me right here because it looks like that boat's about to pin and that person's going to go under the boat, which is pretty dangerous.
Ugh.
I don't know how they avoid. Oh, rock push avoids from going under that boat, which is now kind of stuck there. So video boat.
Yeah, and you don't see any. I don't see any active arm swimming by those people. They're just. I'm gonna say, Zach, one of my biggest frustrations are passive swimmers. Just on commercial trips, private trips, ever just watching people just swim with. Oh, I'm supposed to have my feet downstream. Got my feet downstream. You're like, dude, do something. Oh, here we go.
So video dude.
Oh, that boat's really little. I didn't realize how little the boat was. That dude's on.
Yeah,
you can't do anything. That boat's
it can go over and be a part of it though.
Yeah, totally. It looks like the person's trying to help.
And so, first of all, this person's PFD is not on very tight. Do you see that?
Yeah.
It's up to their head.
They're taking a nice line though. They're staying in the deep water. They know what they're doing. They're doing a nice line. Yeah.
Do you think they're purposefully swimming the rapid? I mean,
that person looked like that person was slowing back off of that, like they're doing a nice 45-degree upstream ferry.
Do you think they want to be swimming
just
right
hit
now?
a rock? Yeah, just hit a rock.
It's not the most pleasant swim through here.
Well, and that's the thing is, I know I'm a good swimmer, but this isn't the worst place to swim to shore. Particularly up high there, you could swim to the right and get out of the water there. Or swim to get up.
That's my point. Should they be self-rescuing to shore or to the boat, or are they just gonna I'm like, hey, we're just gonna swim the rapid.
There they go. That person got over it. Now the person's coming back out to their little raft, which is this is interesting.
No, he's saying he said, pass me, I'm good.
Is he saying pass me?
He did a little hand gesture like when you want a car to pass.
Yeah, I think this dude's cool. I think that this guy's like, yeah, no problem. I got it. I'm just cruising down. Yeah, I'm okay. Their feet look pretty deep in the water too.
Yeah. This looks like rocky. Oh.
Nice line. Swim out.
The
Where are you
line,
going, bro?
he's too far right. The nice line's where the raft is. The raft's in the
Well, but there's a nice
deep
eddy
water.
there on the right. Wouldn't you just swim to the eddy?
I don't think he wants to get out. I think he's enjoying his float. Right into that rock.
Oh yeah, that's what, this would be a really fun swim. Like lots of really good eddies to catch. That would be a really
if you're purposefully swimming
mind you, below the picket fence, not above the picket fence. It's just so everyone's clear. But
yeah, there's a lot. I mean, you could go back and forth, catch eddies, goof around. The water's warm. And now I think he's getting the boat.
What?
I don't understand either. All right.
Okay.
Let's keep
so
going.
what were our conclusions off of that thing?
I don't know. Maybe self-rescue.
Well, and I think this is I'm curious what you can say about this. Before we go into this next one, if you're doing a private, this is why do you teach safety talks as part of your rowing clinics?
No. I mean, we do in the class for now. We don't have them practice one or do one, but we cover it in our clap talk, which actually we do our clap talk in the class 3 as well. Like we talk in communication, which is the C of clap. We talk about, safety talks before you leave and some things that are important to cover.
See, this is once again what I'll say, like the pro guide schools, like everyone's expected to give one there. Everyone's supposed to practice one and try it once and like go through the content and think about giving more.
Hold on, Aaron. You're talking about in the pro guide schools that Aaron Cavignolo teaches.
Pretty much that's a standard, Zach.
I don't think so.
Did that happen in your guide school?
No.
Yeah, it did. Everyone gave them.
When I took the guide school with you,
and
you think I gave it
everyone broke up into groups and we made sure everyone did one.
I don't remember doing one.
Because everyone did because everyone did
but the guide schools that I taught, when I taught guide schools, we didn't teach that.
Really?
No. But maybe we taught terrible guide schools.
But anyways, going back to it though, is I think this is one of the things I like about the pro guide schools. It's like if you're taking a rowing clinic, are you planning to just row yourself down, or are you planning to take your friends with you? If you're planning to take your friends, you kind of need those pro guide school skills because you are acting kind of like a professional guide. You're taking people with less experience than you.
Yeah, but the professional, hold on, Aaron, the professional guide school safety talk is not the same as a private boater safety talk.
How's it different?
It's just different. You're just not going to cover all the same stuff. You end like when you're private.
Are you going to tell me? Are you going to? Are you going to cover aggressive self-rescue? How to swim yourself to shore?
Aaron, so I think when you picture a private boater, you're thinking of somebody paddle boating the South Fork with their friends. I'm not. Yeah. That's like 0.01% of
I'm thinking of somebody rowing a boat down the road and flipping and swimming 3 people. That's what I'm talking about right now.
Yeah. So we cover the importance of that in our schools and teach everybody who takes our classes to, like, when you swim, get your feet up, all those things. We give a safety talk and explain the value of those things to our students. We don't make our students then give that talk to everybody else.
But that's my point.
No, because when you're rowing, you're just by yourself.
No.
Well, you think that
the people who are taking your rowing clinic are now going to take their loved ones down the Rogue River, and someone need to say, hey, if you're going to take other people on the river, you need to be able to give this talk yourself. Okay,
so we explain that, but we don't make them actually do it. Like, hey, now it takes forever. How long it takes?
You break up into small groups. You break up into small groups. You do it every.
All right, maybe. I mean, but I'm not.
And then they get to hear multiple, so they've heard it multiple.
Yeah, multiple ones from people who've never done it before.
Yeah, it doesn't matter. It still helps a lot. They just get so much better over the week. You watch. We do them every morning, and by the end of the week,
you do it every morning. You have, hey, Aaron, you have every morning. You have them give a safety talk. That's you're full of shit.
No, not everyone. No, Zach. So there's like 12 people in the school, right? So we've got basically like every morning 2 people give a talk. So over 6 mornings, we've got everyone giving a talk.
I think you're sitting on a high horse right now.
No, not at all.
You're like, oh, I don't think you really do that.
Yeah, we do it every time.
You have so much to cover in a guide school, and you're going to have all of your students also give a safety talk.
Zach, I think the safety talk is one of the most important things that like, this is when I go back to those things they're going to practice afterwards. They're going to practice running rapids afterwards. The safety talk is one of the most important things you do. Is teaching them that they cover material and how to keep people safe on the
But
trip.
Aaron, we're getting back to one other thing. Are people really giving safety talks to their friends?
Yes, I do. Actually, you know what I do when I take friends on the road now? I send them there's a really nice ACE safety video that I send them, and I send them the ACE safety video and say, "Here, watch this before your trip."
Wait, what safety video?
ACE has a good safety video. They have a safety talk video. Basically,
there you go.
ACE does.
There you go. Just have them watch a safety talk video.
No, I send that to them. Yeah, have you seen it? It's really good.
Let's watch it another time. We got to move on.
Okay, we can bring it up another, but it's really. I was going to bring it up. Okay. It's really good.
So anyway, I'm playing devil's advocate here a little bit. Yeah, I think we should be giving talks to people who haven't been boating before we go boating. But if it's like 10 people who all boat, they're all boaters, do you still give the talk then?
No.
Yeah. So this is just for like new people who are passengers on a private.
I will say this though, above the picket fence or something like that, or depending on the river I might say, hey, you guys, this rapid, if you fall out, I mean, particularly if you can tell some of the people are less experienced and you pretend you're talking to them so everyone hears it. Then you're like, hey, if you guys fall on this one we want to really get on your stomach and aggressive self-rescue.
I mean, that's good. I think in my mind, it's good trip leading. It's like, yeah. I mean, this is a trip leader thing. Yeah.
Depends how much you like your friend, Steven.
But like a good trip leader will, of course, do this and pull the new people aside and say, hey, here's important things for safety. Like, hey, I need you to keep your PFD on. Got to wear shoes. I know you don't want to, but wear your shoes. Keep your PFD tight. Not like Homeboy we just watched, who is above his head almost. And then, if you swim, get your feet up and aggressively self-rescue. Go through the things pretty quickly. But I think having them do it in a rowing school is just
No, I understand. I understand why you wouldn't do it. I'm just saying there's some value there.
Yeah, cool.
I'm not saying that I'm not saying, Zach, I'm definitely not saying you should be doing this. I am just saying that's a really nice thing about the pro guide schools is that they do that.
And we do it in the IRF course too. We hammer it in the IRF course.
Yeah.
I just want to put Andrew. I'm spot on here. Yeah, a good point book and control spacing. Yep. And dragging eddy lines in the rapids just to slow down to let people catch up. You don't have to catch an eddy. You can just catch slow water and let people catch up. All right, here's another good video that I found in terms of swimming. So they're running Green Wall, which is a big rapid on the Illinois. They don't know they're entering Green Wall, which would be.
They don't know they're entering Green Wall?
Yeah. They're just bombing down the Illinois.
Dude, that's awesome. Can you imagine just dropping into Green Wall, having no idea where you are? That would be an amazing experience.
Especially, this looks like 2,000.
Oh, that's not good. Get back to the boat. Yeah, that's a little boat too.
Yeah, a little 11-footer, maybe 12.
Yeah, really.
It's a big hole, man. I don't even want to put a 16-foot gear boat there. I'm surprised they didn't flip.
Man, that's incredible. It just melted. It melted under. It was so small, it just went under and just popped up the backside.
But see how they're grabbing the boat and getting back in.
Perimeter line.
They worked this time. And that over the thwart danger strap is working pretty well here too.
Yeah, right. I mean, that's the perimeter line, the thwart line, got them back in there quick.
And I mean, that's a self-rescue for 2 people in the middle of Green Wall. That's legit. And that's what that should be our goal.
Well, I disagree with that a little bit. I think our goal should be staying in the knowing where you are on the river, staying in the raft. But
that's a good example. Knowing where you're on the river is key. You're right. First of all, knowing,
Green Wall.
Knowing where you're at, that's number 1. But in terms of rescue, we're on the topic of rescue. Those guys self-rescued, which is sweet.
Do you think they're on a one boat trip?
I hope not. No, because they have overnight. He had a Paco pad in this boat and all their overnight
Yeah.
gears in some other boat.
Yeah.
But I don't see another boat down there. Like they
Yeah.
might be the lead boat, which is
Yeah.
that's if they had flipped. Oh, they found an oar. That's funny. Looks like an Arda oar. If they had flipped, who's what would happen?
Isn't Northwest run the all wood ones? All wood
Nope.
ash.
Nope. Their lead boat. Oh, they had lead boat in the entry rapid. I haven't seen this yet. 9.5 foot boat. Oh man. So this rapid should definitely be scouted. Just in case there's any doubt out there.
I hate that scout.
I like it. It's just the only thing I don't like about it is I feel like I'm stressed for time. It's like I like doing the scout. It's a long walk. I can rely. It's kind of fun to scout it, but it's a long ways to the next camp, and you still have a lot more rapids.
Mm-hmm.
And so I'm just like always stressed for time. At that point, especially if you camped at like Klondike.
Wow, sweet tunes.
Turn it down.
Are they in the Waxhaw?
I think this is somewhere in Colorado.
Oh.
Yes.
Oh.
That's so awesome.
Oh.
I think I was just watching this one because, like, in terms of flip recovery, right, this part right here really scares me. Do you see how it's just like,
Yeah, it just goes. Yeah.
oh, oops, I made this too big. I gotta fix that. Yeah, it's just like that. If there's a bunch of swimmers, not rivers continuous, and it's just hopefully they all get back to the boat. Luckily, there's that cat boat downstream that can help a little bit. But that's a lot of swimmers to be ahead of the group.
And this is one of the problems with running tight, right? That happens sometimes.
Yep. Share video. Oops. All right, got two more, Aaron. Share screen.
This is some good footage. You've gone above and beyond today. This is
well, we're talking, and again, the theme here is rescue, right? Like, what do rescues actually look like? And what's good?
Oh, nice float roll up. Yeah. Okay. Great job. That was a rescue.
That was a self rescue because he flipped and rolled.
We're watching kayaking today, huh?
Yeah, I mean, I think, in my opinion, you learn the most about rescuing and kayaking because you're doing it a lot.
True.
And and
there's a lot. It gets away from you pretty quick, with the boat and your paddle and
yeah,
man, it's rough.
So watch carefully here. So first of all, a big part of setting safety. These guys ran first. They're seeing the eddy below. They're watching out for each other. If they just bomb down like those duck ears, there'd be a mess. Because see the guy who pins on there on the right? Do you see that, Aaron?
Oh yeah.
There's a guy who I think that's a vertical pin, and he's underwater on the right. And so this is where like ability to react quickly, physical fitness. This is what a rescue looks like when it's time sensitive. Like he took his time to put his boat up because he needs the boat later, but he's moving fast. And he says, I don't have the audio up, but he says, let's stabilize him first and then come up with a solution. Something like that. So their goal right now is to stabilize this person and make sure they can breathe. And I'd highly recommend everybody watch this video. It's pretty fun to watch. Quickly comes up with a plan and clips out onto his PFD. It's really nice. He has that flip line available. That like really quick, like carabiner with a strap is super useful here. So they can at least get something on him to get him breathing. And earlier, if you saw it, but like he asked, "Can you breathe?" And the guy put his thumb out and said thumbs up. So the person there, the helmet, because it has like a little visor, shot water over the visor and created an air pocket.
And then you're watching like the way that dude jumped. He's got some 5'10" type of, he's got some good sticky rubber shoes. I think that's the thing, is they're properly outfitted.
They're athletic. They're in shape. Like not many people can make that jump. But this is a really dangerous thing right here. Flip line, aka dying buddy leash. Ouch. It's always nice to have stallions. I mean, it's always like we have a friend, Super Kev. It's always nice to have a Super Kev. It's like, hey, Kevin, I need you to jump across 5 rocks to the middle of the river and do this thing. It's really, I think it's nice to have somebody on your trip when you look at the team who you can say, hey, go do this thing. Swim across the river and do that. Or run up the hill to get a better view or something.
Well, I think it's nice to have a couple of those people. Yeah.
If you don't have that person with you, it's dangerous. All right, one more video, Aaron. I see you're yawning already, so it's probably time to shut this show down. No, you got to stop yawning. This is like that. This is our show. We're not supposed to bore ourselves.
You have to understand, I like yawn above big rapids. Like when I'm like above a really big rapid, I yawn. When I was playing sports when I was a kid and it was a big game, we were at halftime or something. The coach is giving us like the talk, the wrap me up talk.
I don't want to hear the excuses.
I'd be like yawning there too, and he would just drive me crazy. Just like you, he'd get all upset. He'd be like, "Dude, this is you. Why are you tired right now?" And that's just the way I relax.
Yeah, well, doesn't come off that way. So again, more kayaking.
All right.
This is a good question, Aaron.
Yeah.
Wonder whether they'd gotten it without the heroic jump.
Maybe. I'll say like I didn't feel like it was that heroic of a jump. I think it was a good jump, but like it seemed very solid and he jumped and he had good footing on it. So probably, but they might have been able to get him out without. But they were going to be pulling at a weird angle then. So
I think they would have gotten him out. It just made it a little more effective and easier. I mean, that's a question. I mean, to me, that seemed like a dangerous jump. Like he could have slipped and then fallen and been a second victim, right? Like that could have been like, and so, I mean, that's a tough call. Like that's why you need a Super Kev, somebody who can make that jump, right? Like I don't know. Whoever did a good job. We did it, man. I did a river this 2 years ago where somebody made a similar jump like that to effect a rescue. And we talked about it at camp. And I was kind of sketched out by it. It was important for the rescue, but I was like, God damn, it was a dangerous jump. And the guy who did it's like, no, I practice this all the time. I'm solid. I'm good. I know what I was doing. I'm like, all right. I wouldn't have done that jump. Okay. Let's go on to this one. But that's Steve. That's a great question.
It's something to consider. It's not something everyone, and I would say if you're thinking, ooh, do I need to do that jump or I don't want to do that jump? Yeah, then I wouldn't do that jump in general. I feel like that's the big thing is if you're like, oh yeah, I can jump there. And that person, the way they jumped over there, it didn't look like they were like nervous about all like that. Yeah, I'll just jump over there. So,
but I
don't think it was that a heroic jump for that person, if that makes sense.
You don't want to make the situation worse.
Yeah.
Like that's the thing is you don't need a second victim at that point.
Nice praise.
So how important was and this person's kind of on the struggle bus. Yeah. I'm going to pause it again because I think this is a great point, right? Like this is why we bring up in that whole training thing, like before, like if you want to train, like physical fitness and swimming ability are key components that people don't think about. And so like, that's why I put that so high on that organizational chart I'm working on because I think that the fitness is just crucial towards. It's not you don't have to have it. It's not absolute, but towards running harder stuff and being more responsible out there, physical fitness is a big deal, and I think underrated.
Well, physical fitness, balance, body awareness, just all those aspects of just knowing your body and having your body in a good position to be able to move around. Yeah.
Let's come back. Let's try to remember to come back to that because I have a. I'll show you one thing about that.
Do we know where this is?
I think it's not in the U.S. Oh, it says Nevis. The rivers, the Nevis. I think.
Is that in the UK? I think it's in the UK.
I don't know. It might be, yeah, the UK. Actually, that PFD that I'm using from the UK is called the Nevis.
So
this is a nice beat down.
And it's one of those ones where it's a frowning hole, kind of goes back up on the corners and it's into rocks on both sides. That's gonna be a really tough hole to get out of. Yeah. I don't
want to run this personally. I look at this, I'm like, that's just.
Is he swimming now? Does he have his boat already? Yeah.
Yeah. And so the RPM guy who we're watching, who's RPM's the kayak, like the two dudes in the Yeti aren't doing anything. RPM guy comes over to help. And this is interesting. He tries to get up to him to grab. He goes for his throw bag, which is interesting to me. The guy swims out. And this is almost a disaster here.
He got it all. Wow, it's going on just in time. Yeah.
I mean, these guys are kind of useless. They're just sitting there watching, doing nothing. And then that guy, no, there's his boat. Yeah, that's the guy's boat. And now swimmer dude is swimming downstream. So RPM guy goes. So the guy swam all this, by the way.
What?
Yeah, because he's downstream right now.
Oh, he's chasing him down right now?
Yeah. So those two dudes are just sitting there useless. Yeah, swam this.
No way. Oh.
And so RPM guy has to go solo to go chase after him. And when you're chasing somebody, you're kind of.
I'm gonna say.
Do you see him right there?
Yeah.
The swimmer's right. He say, "Hey, are you okay? You good? You good? Hey, I'll see you downstream."
Yeah.
Let's go back, just because I think this is. I'm gonna go back to the swim. So at this point, right, like it's pretty apparent he's gonna swim. Right, that's probably how it comes out of this. Maybe comes out, but it's probably gonna be a swim. I sort of feel like somebody needs to start going safety. It's like saying some safety downstream, because they're not going to get him to like if he swims, he's going to swim past all these kayaks real fast. What do you think? Like they're just not.
Well, I think where this guy is right now. He was in a good spot to be downstream safety.
He was, and now he's like, I got to go help get the guy out. He's putting his bow out there. He's like, I'm gonna get as close. I mean, what I like about this guy a lot is like, he's like, I'm gonna get the guy swimming and he's getting re-stroked in the hole. I'm gonna go over there and try to help him. I'm gonna get my bow as close as I can without me possibly getting sucked in. Like, it'd be tempting to get closer, but he's like, I'm gonna do that. And then he's like, this guy is really screwed. A rope is maybe an option, but he quickly puts it away. And then Steven makes the point here that rescuers becoming nuvis, which is a common problem. But now swimmers going downstream, and all three buddies are just sitting there. They weren't in a good place to affect any kind of help for this guy. This is unpleasant. This would be, imagine swimming this. You just got beat down. You're pretty tired from that, and then swimming all of this. And then RPM guy, almost flips right here again. This is close. You see him on the right. And if you watch the video later, the video's in the notes below. It's like, he's like, hey, you good? You good? I'll meet you downstream. So now these guys are Going down to. And that guy flips. I mean, things to me just feel like they're about to get out of control. Right? Like these guys are kind of paddling with adrenaline. They don't seem to be 100% solid. But it doesn't get out of control.
You
So
have a
Aaron,
throwback out? Looks like you just pulled the throwback out.
I wonder why they're doing.
Yeah, you got up there and got throwback out.
So I'm going to pause it really quick. So Steve asks, good spot for a throwback throw? Like when he was in his kayak, would you have thrown a throwback from a kayak right there?
I'm glad he came out.
Yeah, I don't know what the solution
I
is.
mean, I'm going to say this is like, it doesn't seem like a great idea, but how long do you let them tumble around in that hole before you do something? And you can't, they don't look like they could climb out there. They looked really boxed in. I think that's a terrible option, but my question would be, what is a better option?
I don't think it would have worked. I just think he's just like, what can I do?
Yeah.
Like it was a quick, like, oh, I'll get a throw bag, but he probably would have pulled himself into the hole. Right? Because he's not on shore, like he's in a boat. So if he starts pulling the guy, he would have pulled himself in with them, and then the two of them are in there tangled up in a rope.
No,
So,
I don't think I don't think it's a good option. But yeah, I agree. I was like, I don't know what you do. You just sit there and watch your buddy drown. I mean,
I think there's there's something. These are discussions that are hard to have. But when do you let your buddy drown? Like when do you put yourself at risk?
I'm going to say this. This isn't going to be nice. It depends how good of a friend he is.
Oh,
but I'm serious.
I don't know, man. I mean,
like if that's someone you don't know and you're just like met him at put in versus like your lifelong, your brother, your sibling or something like that. Like those are totally different scenes. How far you're willing to go. I mean, we used to talk about taking care of our team first, in terms of like when you're running hard stuff.
But you take care of yourself first.
Yeah, self, team.
Yeah, well, if your team is not the victim. Victim is last. So as soon as they become the victim, they're not part of your team anymore. You're talking about team in terms of your bros. Like you're saying take care of your bros. Totally. But does it go self? Does it go bros, self, team, bystander, victim?
Self, bros, everyone else.
Well, what you're saying is maybe put yourself in danger for your bro.
Well, I would say, I mean,
how far? Like, are you willing to throw a throwback to that guy?
Zach, it's all there's risk with everything. It's just how much risk you're willing to take. And I'm saying I'm willing to take a little more risk for my friend Zach than some person I just met at put in.
Well, that's thoughtful.
Yeah. Great, you Mr. Card Tricker. Now that you're into card tricks, I don't know. You might be like, I might just let you go, Zach. I might just be like, yeah,
all right.
Okay.
Hey, so let's keep going. We're almost done with this. These dudes are pushing limits, and this is my point where like you can't all be pushing your limits. Like somebody needs to be there and be like super comfortable. Like RPM guy had a bomb down solo. He seemed to be the most competent of the group, but earlier in the video, he was kind of struggling a little bit. Like you need to have like competence on the crew. And I don't know these boaters, maybe they are competent, but they didn't seem super high level. Right? Don't you like there needs to be like people on the trip who can dial this run in. Right? If you're gonna have people that are weak.
Mm-hmm.
Ooh, geez. I don't know. Do you have an answer for that one, Aaron?
Oh, I would say like Heidi, it's like the flip drill, the IRA flip drill. Like I had someone who wanted to guide on the Tuolumne and we were springtime training. I was like, oh, hey, we're at the reservoir at the bottom. I was like, okay, let's do the IRA flip drill. And someone couldn't do it. And I had to talk to that person and say, look, you know what? You can't do this. You can't work here. Like
Like that's what's nice. That's what I like about some of the IRF stuff, like the flip drill. Like you have to have some fitness to do it. Like
Yeah.
it's not
The
it's
flip
not
drill's
possible.
getting yourself back in a raft
3 times.
once
Yeah.
is
Yeah,
not
once.
something everybody can do.
Let alone 3 times. And I that's what I like about the IRF standards IDs. I think they're nice. They're not something I just came up with. They're a different organization, and I can bring them in. And we've been talking about that a little bit. Like I was talking to Katie Parker, exactly, she manages on the Tuolumne. We were talking about how like it makes it easy for you, where you don't have to be like, oh, I just don't think this person's good enough. It's like, hey, these are standards right here, and it doesn't mean that if you complete them automatically you're good to work there, but it definitely will weed out people who aren't physically fit.
So you're saying, to answer Heidi's question, is the gauge you're using the flip drill?
One of them. Do you want me to start reading books while you're flipping cards around, Zach?
No, I can do both.
Zach, it's really distracting. It's obnoxious. It's really obnoxious. And clearly you can't do both.
Hey,
cards just go flying all over the place.
No, watch this. I was able. Look, I told you I can fly the cards.
This is not Zach's card show. We're going back. This is more Sydney catching me eating a bite of food.
All right. Back to it.
This is way worse.
Okay, Aaron, is the standard then the flip drill, or is it a higher standard than that? Is that enough?
No, I think it's like if you can't do that, no. That's not the standard. It's not like a yes. It's not like yes. It's not like yes. If you can do that, then you can work here. But if you can't do that, you definitely can't work here.
Can you work the Rogue? Does it depend by river?
On the Tuolumne, it's just an easy.
That's a no-brainer for the Tuolumne. I mean,
the Tuolumne is no brainer. The Rogue. I mean, I think so. Man. I think you need to be able to do that even on the Rogue. Like, and I will give exception. I will say the exception. If someone can't flip the boat back over by themselves because they're not big enough, I would let that go for sure. I would say you need to be able to climb up top of it, but you need someone. If you need to be able to pull someone else up to flip it over with you, fine. But that's the one exception I would give, like on the Rogue, and maybe even on the Tuolumne too. Is like if you can't flip it back over by yourself because you're not big enough, I don't know if I'm going to hold that against you. If you're really good at everything else, and I'm like, okay, you can't flip the boat back over.
Anybody can flip a raft over. I mean, anybody can pass it. I mean, you give him a 13-foot boat.
Okay, yeah.
But maybe not a 16-foot gear boat, but you got to be able to.
The 14-foot Avon.
Even a 14-foot.
The Avons are kind of hard. Some people can really struggle too. So.
Well, I mean, river guiding, the kind that we do, is physically demanding.
Yeah.
And so, like, just to even get the job to do like the carrying the heavy things and do it, you have to be physically fit.
Yeah.
So it's somewhat about the whitewater part, but it's just literally like can you work 12-hour days? Can you lift heavy things? Can you lead hikes? Like, there's not like a test you have to pass, but we're never going to hire you if you're not physically fit. So there's not a test.
I just think it's nice. It's just a nice thing. Like, hey, it's a nice thing to make it clear. And like, if they've got the fitness to do that, they'll probably have the fitness to do the other stuff as well. So jump out and throw. That's an interesting idea, Steve. And then there's 2 people. So that he means jump out of the kayak and throw it. So he's like acting as a dead weight to pull the person out of the eddy, out of the. So basically, he's saying jump out of the kayak while you throw the throw bag into the hole. The guy grabs onto the throw bag, and then you're like a sea anchor pulling them out downstream.
I think you let.
I'm going to say, Steve, that sounds sketchy because when you got 2 people in the water, loose rope floating down, one of the basic things is only throw a throwback from like a stationary place on shore in general. If you are throwing it from in the river, it should be like a huge wide river where there's no things on it, and even that, it's like, so you're breaking a lot of the basic norms of throwbacking. And to jump in the river, you're gonna have that long rope in the river.
Or is there like spot on shore he can, like, I don't know. I think it's tough.
Jump out on shore and throw. Yeah, maybe it means that. Okay, that makes way more sense. Yeah.
Like because where he was on river left, if we go back, like
the river left actually looks like there's some rocks over there. It looks like on the river left behind him, like looking up above, we saw right there. Yeah, it looks like you might
maybe
be able to
there's a
jump out
spot, but it's gonna be hard to hold onto your boat and throw back, and you're never gonna get that guy's attention. I mean, the person you're gonna lose because you can't just throw the bag without knowing that.
there. Zach, I'm gonna say this is one place where I like to have a leash. Is you climb out on certain rocks to do some rescue thing like that. You can climb out and you can clip your leash to your boat so your boat doesn't float away. And you can
Yeah,
sail
yeah,
through.
I hear what you're saying.
Yeah.
But you're not also from here not going to get his attention as a swimmer. It's like because you need to be like you need to see him, let him know the rope's coming, yell rope, and then
Oh,
he's circulating.
no,
so
yeah,
fast.
Zach. At that point, like, well, first of all, like, I'm not usually throwing a rope to someone whole because then it's getting all wrapped around them. But the point where you know they're not coming out, they feel a rope, they're like, ooh, rope. They're just gonna grab onto it.
So you're gonna throw a rope to somebody in a hole that isn't expecting it.
Well, it depends how long they've been in there and what's
Yeah, that's
going
true.
on. I'm not gonna no, not normally. Like normally they're gonna flush out like that. And if
I mean,
know,
I've watched enough people get beat down like this to know that like I don't know, they're gonna come out. I mean, it's hard to say, but like
that's
don't
a
make the
pretty nasty
situation
one.
worse.
That's a pretty nasty one. but
It's
yeah.
pretty nasty, but like how long can a body stay in there surfing?
Yeah, I don't know.
Like I don't want to make the situation worse.
No, those are those tough decisions. Just hopefully don't
Like,
be in that.
if you watch the guy boating, by the way, he didn't boof at all. Like he shouldn't have been there to begin with. That's part of the problem. Like he just plugged it without even any kind of a boof. So they do kind of.
I will say, having swam out of my kayak in a hole like that, it's really your kayak can give you some purchase to like push off your kayak to get downstream. But you know, we don't really talk about kayaking much, but having done stupid swims in holes before kayaking.
So now we're in equipment. I just want to make the point. We're in equipment recovery mode. Right.
Okay.
We switched from the rescue portion because the person is in shore and they're fine. And now we're in equipment recovery.
What's going on with oh yeah. Okay.
The guy kind of, I don't know if you know, he kind of rappelled down, sort of like came down. And now it looks like he's clipping the throw bag onto the boat so they can pull from above.
It's kind of convenient the boat just got
Wedged there. Yeah, versus just.
Do they stuff it there or just you get stuff there on its own? Wow.
Oh, that's a good question.
That's amazing.
I think that's a good question. Because they probably stuffed it there. And there's like a quick anchor. Again, somebody used their flip line to make a quick anchor, which looks like it's meant to be a redirect. They're using a carabiner. They don't have a pulley. They're just using a carabiner, which works fine. And then homeboy's climbing out. Pretty effective, right?
Yeah, that's a nice knot there.
Well, not is that a bowline?
Looks like a bowline. But he has a carabiner on it too.
Oh, the paddle.
Oh, that's a nice paddle. All right, we got some more comments.
All right,
we
done
doing
with
the
this?
comments?
We'll do this and then get the comments. Oh, I get. All right, comments. So true, bro.
Thanks.
Jerry's. I just learned what Jerry's are. Do you know what Jerry's are, Aaron?
Is that like dudes?
No, it's like people that mess up. There's this Instagram
Huh.
called Jerry of the Day where it's just people just getting destroyed doing things. Like they're riding their bike down a ramp and like crashing into a wall, or somebody's skiing and they do a backflip and land on their head. Inviting novices. So I mean, this is a whole other topic. Inviting novices who get in trouble. Like we don't know what happened. Did somebody invite this guy who was in over his head? I don't know. I'm a big fan now. Oh, here they're paddling some more, and you can see they start running some pretty decent rapids. Like they're somebody just flipped. Oh. This Jerry looks pretty good actually. Here's the RPM guy.
What the? This is crazy.
Looks kind of fun though.
Yeah, right.
But like my thing lately is I don't talk people. I used to, when when I was younger, and I'd be like, come on, let's go run this gnarly thing.
Yeah,
I was always
me
talking
too.
people
Yeah.
into going big.
Me too.
And now like I'm not that person. Like if you want to come with us, you're gonna make a choice, and I'm gonna do my best to provide you safety. But like I'm not gonna talk novices into going.
No, I agree. I've made that mistake too many times. Or like
You
not
know,
even
like
novices, even just people who are not sure if they want to do it. I'm like, if you're not sure, just don't go.
yeah, like get like convincing people that they'll be fine, or like we'll take, it puts a lot of extra pressure on. When we
Okay,
make
so you're
mistakes
telling you
too.
never try to convince Dougie to go with you.
Not anymore.
Oh, really?
No, not anymore.
'Cause I feel
Like,
I feel like there's certain people who want to be convinced to do it too, though.
yeah, I mean, no, I'm not. I mean, if not to get over his head, like Brody right now, I want Brody to kayak the West Fork, and I will like be there for him the whole time. Like, I think he's ready for it, and I kind of am talking him into it because I think he'll have a good time. But it's pretty rare for me. And the West Fork's like easy class 4, and so, but it's pretty rare for me to talk somebody into kayaking something or going boating on something. Like the wind is something I never talk people into because people get trashed on the wind a lot.
This is legit run.
Yeah,
Wow.
I mean, look, they went from that to like crushing that nice waterfall.
All right. So what other? Okay.
Comments.
Comments.
Oh,
Oh,
no.
that's a good question, Heidi.
I mean, do I hold my private boating? I mean, my private boating friends, guides have to have a certain fitness to just do the job. It's just physically a lot of work. Like I said, it's not even the boating as much as it's just all the things.
On the Rogue, Zach, really? On the Rogue?
Yeah, you have to lift coolers in and out of things. You have to carry things. You have to, like, I don't know. It's physically fit. My private boating friends, but the people who are my core boating friends are all in pretty good shape. But I have some that aren't, and I recognize that that's a weakness. When I go with them, and like I'm gonna have to be safety squirrel sometimes. What do you think, Aaron?
I'd say I'm
Depends
really,
what I'm running.
I'm pretty particular about who I private boat with. Like I'm pretty uppity. Yeah, I want to be fit, and it depends on what I'm running.
What if it's the Rogue? They need to be fit if it's the Rogue.
I don't care.
It depends on the
I
run, too.
only care if I'm having to carry their bag up the hill because they're too out of shape to do that. Then I'm like, man, I don't want to deal with them. Unless there's unless it's someone I really like who's like a good friend, like Zach. Like I would be like, okay, Zach, I can handle carrying your bag up because you're so out of shape now.
Yeah.
I'll do that for you.
Appreciate it. You're gonna need to do that here pretty quick.
Yeah, I think it depends on the run you're doing, Heidi. And I just like and where you're going and who you bring with you. But like in general, yeah, I like to be around fit people. It's a lot easier. So yeah. We got so many, Zach, we're so far behind on
Okay,
comments.
cool. We'll get it quick. So standard for guide train 20 years ago, flip drill ×2, smart.
Yeah.
You couldn't be a tool. You can be a tool now. And this is a skate comment. So yeah, the difference between 20 years ago and now is you can be a tool. Landing. This is talking about the throw bag on the right.
Yeah, landing on the right. Yeah.
I don't think you can.
It looked like there might have been a way from up above looking down, but not sure.
Yeah.
So it was a nasty spot.
Would you blow a whistle there?
And then throw bag?
Yeah, maybe. I don't know. I don't know honestly, if I'm the one getting beat down to the hole, I don't know if I want that throwback, to be honest with you. Like, it might just get tangled. I don't want to get tangled up in a rope getting beat down in a hole. My worry about it is just like, I feel like in holes, you generally eventually come out. But I guess I've never seen anybody die in a hole. So there's times when it doesn't happen. But I think that hole is really bad. You're right. It was frowning. And it's boxed off on both sides. So that one was like pretty dangerous. Most of the time, though, I wouldn't want to throw a rope into a hole because somebody get tangled up and drown that way.
I feel like people usually come out and I'd say we're talking, since this show is mostly about rafters, pretty much everything we're rafting and what we're talking
like
about.
That.
Yeah. If you're at that level, you're running stuff like that. You don't need. We're not. You're making your own decisions. Like you've seen that stuff.
Yeah. If a swimmer's stuck in a whole lot of wearable throw bag.
Oh God, I would not do that.
That's not going to work. You can't. Don't throw a throw. Yeah, like you won't get any. You won't throw it.
I mean, these are our opinions, and there might be a place for it, but I'd be worried about it. I'd be real. I don't know if I would do it.
Yeah. I think boating is a good reason to stay fit. I mean, I exercise more than I normally would just so I can stay fit to boat more.
I think that the problem is you can boat and not be fit. It's not like mountain biking. You're like, you just can't ride up the hill. You gotta,
Yeah. It's like rock climbing versus like
yeah.
kayaking class 5.
Yeah.
Like I'm not physically fit right now to climb El Cap, but you can put me in a kayak and I can go over the lip of a waterfall, right? Like climbing, the fitness will keep you from doing it. Where boating or kayaking, you can enter the rapid. There's nothing stopping you from entering the rapid if you're not fit enough for it. What's JOTD? JOTD, you know what that is? Jerry. Oh, Jerry of the Day. Jerry of the Day is the Instagram. That's pretty funny. That's right.
Yep.
Oh man, Aaron, I almost bought us elf costumes on Amazon, and I was just like, do I need to buy more stuff?
No, we need to buy more knives. Definitely not more.
All right, you would find exciting what you think of it. What are we talking about here?
I don't understand that one.
This must go way back. I don't know. Hey, I forgot I have one more video, and then we'll really be done.
Okay.
You've probably seen it. We can just talk about it really quick. Do you know this one?
Where is this?
Have you seen this before?
They're lining their boat. Is this on the Oahe or something? Where is this?
It's close. Keep guessing.
Is that the Jarbidge at high water?
This is the Jarbidge, and it was this landslide had just happened. So it used to be called Jarbidge Falls, and it changed. This happened like the day before they got to this.
Oh, bummer.
You've never seen this?
They're celebrating early too. Oh.
So this, I just want to point out because we're on this rescue thing. This is equipment retrieval.
Oh, it was equipment retrieval. Now it's rescue. Oh.
So like again, I'm trying to run the whole gamut here with rescue, like swimmers, getting stuck in a hole, what else? Flips, and now we're in the equipment retrieval section.
I'm gonna say good thing he had a life jacket on and a wetsuit and helmet.
Well, of course he's wearing a life jacket, but not only does he have a life jacket, he has one of those bomber. That's a big life jacket with a lot of protection and a protect. I heard this is this is John Barker, who is a legend from Barker Ewing. That's why I think this is actually doing this. And John Barker is a badass. Like this, he's like the Clint Eastwood of boating. Like, I'm not going to do this. I wouldn't. That's crazy. But somebody, if you're going to actually get this equipment, somebody has to get on that rock, right?
Well, so you got a line across the river, and they're like, yeah, he's like, pull tight. That's the kind of a clever thing they're doing there to help him get up there.
Chuck Taylor.
Yeah, the Chuck Taylor. He is old school. Yeah, old school there. I used to use Chuck Taylors. They're good ones.
That jump and swim is pretty.
Is he wearing a life jacket over the life jacket? I think he's got 2 life jackets on.
Oh, maybe I never noticed that. And so just like, hey, it's just like, hey guys, guess what we're doing? We're gonna slowly move this gear out of here with ropes. It's just methodical.
This is great.
So this is from. There's a great, somebody sent me this. There's a great Mountain Buzz post with a lot of discussion about this. So if you're into Mountain Buzz, it's worth checking out.
Yeah. What's the big discussion revolving around?
And I think this is a different route that happened somewhere else, a different spot, just another one. Just about like how it happened, how this came to be.
Yeah, this is Jarbidge Falls right here.
Yeah.
How
some kayakers who were like put on the same day, how they like camped out. They had to spend a whole day. It was raining so hard, like waiting for the like rain to stop to even put on the river.
Whoa!
It's like becoming a thing to jump like that.
That looks painful.
Yeah,
that does not look nice. Oh, why did you do that? You already oh, that's a guide. The other person isn't a guide. The other person's maybe not.
And then
that is full on.
Yeah. And that swim would be terrifying. Below
and
there.
He's on the raft, upside down.
But then Homeboy's still on the rock. How's Homeboy supposed to get off? Why did maybe that guy stayed on the rock for the next boat? But these are people like putting their bodies and they're putting themselves in danger for equipment retrieval. But I think there are other choices just to leave this stuff behind to hike out. Maybe, I don't know. Maybe they have to on a trip like the Jarbidge. You kind of have to because you're really not hiking out of this one.
That's a nice line there. Wow. Whoa!
I flipped. Oh, just a carnage fest.
Dude, and then it's still not a nice swim from below there. Oh
No.
Kudos for them putting that online. Yikes.
Yeah. I'll show you. I'm gonna look up one more thing, and I'll let you comment on this while I look up one more thing, and then we'll be done.
Thanks, Steven. That's nice to see her.
It's Christmas Eve, so we'll probably let everybody go. But move. Let's see if this comes up. Here we go. So, just as a physical fitness tip, I'm gonna share one thing I've been doing lately.
Showing yoga.
Close.
P90X. What is it, Zach?
No, it's kind of cool actually. It's this guy. It's primal movement. What's it called again? Movement Parallels Life, and it's just like all kinds of just movement exercises for flexibility. It's not like a workout where you're just like doing push-ups and pull-ups, and which are important. Like strength training is important, but just a lot of flexibility and movement, which I think is key for boating because you need to just be able to run up and down hills sometimes or jump on things. And so just working on like a lot of hip flexibility and movement, I think is pretty key. And it's not hard. Like you're not going to be super stressed doing these workouts. So I'd highly recommend checking this guy out. You'd like it, Aaron.
That's nice.
Yep. So, okay, let's get this done. Steven, thanks for the comment. That's cool. I'm glad we helped. I'm glad we're not getting the opposite comment from the person who flips in the Grand Canyon because of us. But Merry Christmas to you. This video. So he wants to know what we think of this video, a flip for me and a couple of friends. I don't know what video you're talking about. You have to, maybe you're sending it, and we see different.
Oh yeah, we might not have seen what you're posting there. We're just seeing your checks. That's the this is all we're seeing.
You got to email it to Aaron@riversanoceans.com.
Yeah. Send it to me, Aaron@riversanoceans.com. We'll take care of it. We'll take a look at it next week.
Well, Aaron, it's 4:00 on Christmas Eve. We did a Christmas Eve spectacular. Thank you everybody for spending time with us on a holiday. And I'm gonna go make some dinner for my wife, some Christmas dinner.
Oh, that's nice. What are you guys having?
Halibut.
That's real nice.
She's a vegetarian, but she eats halibut.
Oh, nice.
Yep.
We're having piglet.
What is piglet?
A baby pig. The baby wild pig.
Did you buy the whole pig?
No, we didn't buy it. We got it from a friend.
A whole pig?
Yeah. We're roasting in the oven. Yeah, it's a baby. It's a piglet.
You're eating baby pig for Christmas?
Yeah. Suckling pig. I think they call them like suckling pigs or something like that. It's a wild pig though. Like their problem here, they have to kind of eradicate them, and so somebody was taking care of it. I guess.
I mean, is that technically a luau?
No, if we cooked it in the ground, but we live in a condo, so that's not happening.
But it's not. So if you cook it in an oven, it's not a luau.
I don't know. Maybe we could turn it into a luau. That's an interesting idea. I'll have to look that up.
Let me try my trick one more time, Aaron.
Ready? Oh God, dude, this is.
Oh, come on. See that? I'm learning how to.
Hey, watch this. I could drop stuff too. Right, Zach. I can't believe, Zach, you are ruining the show. You are literally ruining the show.
It's over. It's over.
Ruining the show.
Watch one more time.
Oh gosh. Please stop, Zach. Okay, I'm sorry.
See that?
Hey, you guys, thanks for tuning in. Can I mute you somehow? Can I mute you? Okay. I'm muting Zach so we don't have to listen to him anymore. Anyways, you guys, thanks for tuning in. It was great having you. Hopefully you guys are all having a nice holiday. Zach can keep working on his card tricks. If you haven't done so, please hit the subscribe button. And you can also become like a member or something like that, I guess. So Zach appreciates all that. And I hope you guys all have a great time. And hopefully you're all
got plans to get on the water sometime soon here. Zach, you ready to close us down and end the broadcast?
I can't believe you muted me. That's lame.
I love the power.
Hey, Aaron, I have one thing I want you to tell me about.
Okay.